Welcome to the Call Your Shot podcast, your weekly sports recap podcast where we break down the hottest headlines, dissect the latest injuries, and serve up our own hard-hitting analysis of the past week in sports. But that's not all. We're not just here to talk about the past, we're here to predict the future as well. On the Call Your Shot podcast, we boldly predict the outcomes of the upcoming week's games.
Not necessarily much has changed over the past week. The Lakers are reeling since this in-season tournament. I think they are like 3-7. So we have a game against the Heat tonight. You know, a lot going into it, whether it be, LeBron, obviously anytime he plays against the Heat, just because he played with them for so long, Jimmy Butler, 2020 finals, bubble. So there's usually a lot that goes into these type of games, but hopefully Lakers can get back on track. So yeah, did you have anything or any thoughts on the Lakers here? I mean, any deadline trades that you think that they absolutely need to make, or whatever the case may be? We talked about it a little bit last week, but 3-7 ain't too pretty.
I just think that like you said, they started out hot and they win the big games, which is good to see. Well, yeah, I mean, you guys won the in-season tournament. You guys
we did.
Okay. And I mean, you like every test that you've had against like a elite team, you've for the most part passed. Because I would know because I typically bet against them in those big games.
Had a close one against the Timberwolves a few days ago. Almost happened. And toe on the line. Tell your man to get some smaller shoes. Get his toe off the line, Drew. We need threes.
Dude, same thing with Boston last night too. With Porzingis with his toe on the line. That was dumb. Anyways, go back to the reeling Lakers. But yeah, I mean, okay, they got blasted against Boston, but they also beat OKC. And they ended up beating Phoenix, and they beat Houston when they were one of the better teams in the league. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they're competing against good teams, but then they go against just middle of the pack teams, and then they're just like, I think we're good. We don't need to win this game. Like we'll just be completely average.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
I think we'll get it figured out. Hopefully we'll get it figured out. We need to. But you had mentioned OKC, who was what I was going to talk about next, have been probably the best team in the league over the past few weeks. They just beat Boston Celtics last night, and they are now sitting at 23-9, just one game behind the Minnesota Timberwolves, and only just a couple games behind for the best record in the NBA. They have wins over the past few games against the Celtics, the Grizzlies, the Nuggets, the Thunder, or the Nuggets, the Knicks, and the Timberwolves. So they've been honestly great. And, Shai has been clearly in the conversation when it comes to MVP, along with Embiid, Luka, Jokic. But Chet, honestly, been great. It's going back and forth, obviously, between him and Victor Wembanyama when it comes to Rookie of the Year. But if the Thunder finish as like a top 2 or 3 seed and they make the playoffs and they go deep, I don't know what more you can ask of Chet. Obviously, Victor's playing on a team. It's literally only him. Speaking of which, Victor got kind of low-key posterized by John Morant. It was kind of a drive-by poster, but it was disgusting. But yeah, no, the Thunder have been absolutely great, and just talked about they, as of right now, would have the Rockets pick, and I can't remember what other pick it would be, but they would have 2 lottery picks for next season on top of their already great record, and they still have like 20 first-round picks over the next 7 years. So they're just in position to be an absolute great team, and over the past 15 years, the Thunder have been probably one of the best franchises when it comes to GM, when it comes to drafting, arguably in the league. So they look great.
Even when they were in Seattle too.
Exactly. Say it again. We need it.
Okay. But yeah, they've been like, I think they're one of the teams too that of all the NBA teams right now that the market has just like completely wrong. Because a team that has a 29-3 or 23-9 record overall also has a 23-8-1 record against the spread. So basically, if they win the game, they cover, and that ideally shouldn't happen if you have the market rating correct. And I think that's one of those teams where we were just wrong, like flat out wrong. Like we knew that they were going to be good, but
Mm-hmm.
we didn't know how good that they would be.
I didn't think it'd be
And
this early. Yeah,
again, so what?
I didn't think it would be this early. I thought it would be like a year or two. Chet would
Yeah,
need to develop more, but I mean, I was wrong.
exactly. Yeah, and they again, like they're passing, like you talked about, they're passing the test whenever they play against elite competition, more so than your Lakers over there.
That's what I'm saying.
But right now they currently rank third overall according to Clean the Glass. You know I love my Windex. And then in terms of the last couple weeks, they're third in terms of point differential, and then they're second in offensive efficiency at 126.9, which is ridiculously high. Only to, ironically, Boston, who is number one. Um, like they're when I talk about getting to your spot and getting a bucket, just watch Shai play. And no matter who's guarding him, no matter what you do, you could double team, triple team, quadruple team, you could put the whole team on him. All I know is I'm gonna get to my mid range spot. I'm gonna go to that baseline. I'm gonna hit a fadeaway. Nothing you can do about it.
That's
So,
against great defensive teams too. Even a couple nights ago or
mm-hmm,
last night when they played the Celtics, like Derek White and Drew Holiday, especially Drew Holiday, are some of the best perimeter defenders like in the league, and just
mm-hmm.
easy money, easy work.
Yeah, it makes no sense too, because like he's just like he's so smooth and like just
Mm-hmm.
I can't even describe it. It reminds me of myself when I was playing back in the day. I um
Like looking in the mirror,
but yeah,
I
so
don't know what it is.
exactly.
And it just goes to their player
But yeah,
development too. It's crazy. It is honestly
yep.
crazy.
Yeah, and when it comes to playing against top 10 teams in differential, they're one of the best as well, obviously, because they keep on winning. But it shows that they're only 50%, so they're 5-5 right now against teams that are top 10. However, the top team, that is Boston Celtics right now, only has 6 wins. They're 6-4, so they've only won one more game than the OKC Thunder, and I mean they just beat the top team. So do with that what you will. But I think that I'm not saying that they're the best team in the league right now, but I'm saying that right now they're
I am.
definitely really.
I mean, right as of right now, they're playing the best in the league. I'm not saying that they're when it's all said and done, they should be like the title favorites or anything like
Okay,
that.
that's
But
what I was like, dude.
they're playing the best in the league right now,
Yeah,
and are a top five
definitely.
team in the league. Is what I would say. Um,
Hmm.
One thing that I did forget to mention in the NBA, we talked about trades a little bit. We did have an actual trade, not necessarily, not blockbuster, but it was a very interesting trade. The New York Knicks acquired OG Anunoby in a trade with the Toronto Raptors, who ended up getting RJ Barrett, Immanuel Quickley, and a second round pick. So now the New York Knicks have a dynamic trio, if you will, of Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and OG Anunoby. Ended up winning in their first game with him, and actually the Raptors ended up winning their first game with RJ and with Emmanuel Quickley as well. So what were your thoughts on that trade? Do you think that makes the Knicks, I'm not going to say title contenders, but makes the Knicks more formidable when it comes to the East? They're talking about them still not being done when it comes to trades, but I mean, I didn't hate it, especially the way RJ Barrett has been playing over the past couple seasons. So
Yeah, it, it's
everybody's wanted OG
it's
too over the past
okay.
couple years. Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of the reasons why too that I had the under on the season win total for the Raptors, because it was like
Clean
what you
house.
have right now, yeah, like what you have right now is not good enough to win.
Mm-hmm.
And so like your only option is to just keep on building and try and trade for more assets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm glad that that finally looks like it's going to happen. Unlike my Hawks bet that I have. So, anyways, yeah. So Emmanuel Quickley, I think that he was a very underrated piece because he was in
I agree.
contention for
Six
sixth
man
man
of
of
the
the
year.
year. Yeah, and so you take that away, and now your bench depth is not really anything at all.
Hey man,
Um,
Josh Hart. That's all you need.
stop, stop it. And but I mean, this does fill that gap that they had with Mitchell Robinson being out, and like we saw how bad their defense has been over the past like month or so. where they're just they were bottom tier and now they're just bottom 25. So like I think that this is going to be a major piece on the defensive end. So that'll help for sure. But on the other side, offensively, it I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
mean,
I've never OG's good, but like I don't know.
yeah, I think OG is good. I like the trade. I mean, it makes sense, I guess, for both teams. As you mentioned, the Raptors are trying to clean house, and basically the only thing that they have to move now, they got rid of Fred, they've got rid of OG, they've got rid of Norman Powell a couple years ago, and now it's basically Pascal, who a lot of people are saying that he's likely going to be moved as well. For the Knicks, I mean, I think it's a good trade, as you mentioned. I think it helps them defensively. I think OG is one of the better two-way forwards in the league, and I think very underrated to a degree. But I just don't think it moves the needle very much for them in terms of like playoff
Yeah,
success
exactly.
or trying to win a title or anything like that. But I mean, it doesn't hurt. I do understand the depth, as you mentioned, that Isaiah Quickley brought for them. So now losing that, Tom Thibodeau's always ran a very short bench. He only plays about 7 or 8 players, honestly, like 7 players in the game. So I think that little bit of depth does hurt. Now you're starting Dante DiVincenzo, who I didn't have much expectations for, but then I think he dropped like 38 or something like that randomly. I was like, oh, okay. So you know, it was originally
Google
because like
me.
Google me, Chuck. And Josh Hart was starting for them last season. I thought that he was going to be starting this season, but he's been ultimately moved to the bench as well. So Jalen Brunson has been great for them.
He's a dog.
Still, it seems like they go back and forth on whether or not they want to try to keep continuing to build with Julius Randle or moving him. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do for that because
I
I
don't
don't
know
know at
what's up
this
with it.
point. He
Is he
got his
good?
bag and he's
Like,
complacent.
is
Yeah, I think he is good. He had his prove it season where he dropped average like 25 and 11, and then he got his bag, and then he was like, all right, I can
and
chill
then
now. But
he just
yeah, some
disappeared.
days he looks great, and he's like, I can look like a healthy Zion every once in a while, and then just play bully ball. And then some games he's just like out of it, and he's like, no, I'm just gonna pull up from three and go 3 for 13. But I don't know what it is with Julius Randle. I don't think that you really can move him at this point because I don't think that what you value him as or what you value him as what he should be, nobody's going to value him that way. So I don't really know what you can do with that, and that doesn't give you many pieces to. If you don't trade him, that doesn't give you many pieces to build around him and Jalen Brunson, and now OJ Anunoby. I don't know if, yeah, I just don't think it moves the needle very much. I think that when the sportsbook came out and it had the updated odds of the Knicks making the Eastern Conference Finals and making the championship, it literally did not change. It stayed the exact same.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And that tells you everything you need to know right there. Not that, Vegas knows, whatever, but it just shows how like the impact of the trade was more foundational as opposed to actually like a blockbuster kind of thing. When it comes to Julius Randle, so far this season, he's currently in the 29th percentile when it comes to effective field goal percentage, which is not where you want to be associated with. So like he's not known as a defender and he's not giving you offensive production. Like he's this is kind of funny. This is not his game, but to be fair, but he's in the 11th percentile when it comes to block shots, which I just think is hilarious. But yeah, he's not doing the thing that he was supposed to be doing for the offense or for the defense or for anybody this year. But I do think that the Knicks can build around him and build around Brunson and try and add some more assets. I think that they need another guard, and like because Jalen Brunson can't do it on his own, and he's definitely vulnerable on the defensive end too. So if they can get somebody on on the oh my god on the in the backcourt, there we go, Jesus, hang in there, Drew. It's somebody in the backcourt there that can provide a spark off the bench like Immanuel Quickley was, then I think that that'll be beneficial for them going forward.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I had. Lastly, the Phoenix Suns have finally got their trio all together and all
It
healthy when it comes
happened.
to Kevin Durant. I know before the playoffs, it's crazy. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. They are currently 3-0 over the past 3 games since Bradley Beal has been in the lineup. First game in, trying to find his rhythm, only had 6 points, but then he dropped 25 and 21. So they look like a very good team once they finally have everything back on rolling. And in the West, like it's when it comes down to like the play-in, like it's gonna be weird because there's like 7 teams that I genuinely think that like are very good potential teams, and that 3 of them are gonna get knocked down the play-in. The way it looks right now is it's 7th seed is Dallas, then Phoenix, Houston, LA, and then you have Golden State on the outside and Memphis, looking much better now that Jaws come back. Like, I mean, it's gonna be weird the
Mm-hmm.
way that the West ends up shaping up. So, anything else that you wanted to get into in the NBA?
I guess yeah, touching on that point about the Suns.
Mm-hmm.
So since Christmas, we'll start from Christmas. They're currently 7th in point differential, and they're 6th in offensive efficiency and 8th in defensive efficiency. So they've definitely been turning that production around since Christmas. Maybe they got some good gifts underneath the tree. Santa was good for them this year.
Ew.
However, however, your I guess we'll say your Golden State Warriors and then my Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
They're trending in opposite directions. So
Yeah.
the Blazers since Christmas are
Mm-hmm.
currently 19th, which isn't it's not great, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also not where Golden State is down at 24.
Yeah.
So I just think that you know it's not as bad as or I'm thinking of Kansas City right now. I'm thinking of like, oh, like this is they'll turn it around and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not like Kansas City isn't that bad, but the Warriors are kind of
They are
trending
that bad.
towards being, yeah, and so it's kind of I do I want to call it the end of the dynasty? Yes, I think so,
Yeah.
because I don't think that we're going to be seeing a whole lot of winning coming on anytime soon. And if you sort um, their games based on the middle 10 teams in the league, they are 2-8 against teams that are between 20 or sorry math between 11 and 20. So like that, if you can't at least be what league averages is 500 against these middle teams, and you're 2-8, and then you're also 7-9 against
Mm.
top 10. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
it's tough. I don't know what the Warriors are going to do, and I still haven't really heard that much of an update on Draymond Green when it comes to like the actual length of his suspension. It just kind of seems like we're just
mm-hmm.
playing it by ear. The NBA hasn't come out and said anything. Yesterday, Steve Kerr came out and said that he's been away from the team. We're giving him his space, and he's giving us ours. I don't know what that means, but yeah, it does not look great for the Golden State Warriors, and without Draymond, there's even more pressure on Steph, who can carry the bulk of scoring aspects and stuff like that. But to ask that of him every single night, and Clay going through these shooting slumps like every other week, like
mm-hmm.
I don't know what more you can do, and they're not really getting any other offensive production other than I think they lost the game on Christmas, I believe it was, to I don't remember who they played, but Kuminga came out and said that nobody can stop me if I have the ball. It's like I don't know if he was mad that he didn't get the ball
My
in the prime
God.
time, whatever like that, but he stayed talking and has the utmost confidence in himself. But yeah, he hasn't necessarily shown it from a consistency standpoint for the Warriors. But I mean, maybe he knows something
I was
that
like,
we don't.
I was like, of all people to say that, like, like Jamar Chase, I'm open. I'm always open.
Legit.
Like that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
you are him.
Mm-hmm.
Kaminga, no,
Mm-hmm.
stop it.
He said, "Stop it."
Like you're better than that.
Fact.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I had for this week. I think the only thing left is a little bit of Scoot Henderson appreciation.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not over, Drew.
so
Rookie of the Year race is not over.
it
I'm here.
exactly He has been
Take this 12-5.
It's fine. You know, he'll be improving every game, and he's shown that he has potential, which is good. He's not just a
Potential for
complete
what?
bust. To be a decent player in the league, and that is good enough for
People are
me.
telling me that when he was drafted, he was going to be like John Morant, Russell Westbrook.
I may or may not have said that too, but that's beside the point. You know,
Shooting wise,
you
yeah.
can't win them all. Yes. Yeah, I mean, so if you look over the past few games, he was against Phoenix, 7 of 18. That's good. That's solid. 17 points. And then don't look at the games against San Antonio. 9 for 21 and then 8 for 23. We don't talk about that.
I mean,
but,
at least they're allowing him to get that many shots up. I mean, that means they have some faith in him, because that's a lot of shots.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if they're not going in.
That's what I'm saying. Those are shots for Anthony.
Exactly. Well, he was hurt against
that makes sense.
Second game against the Spurs.
There we go.
Or sorry, the first game against the Spurs was they got blasted. But yeah, I mean, he's not turning over the ball, which is good. At least in one game he didn't.
One game at a time.
But I feel like going forward in the season, he's kind of figuring things out still, and he's moving a little slower than others, but that's okay. He's got time, and for God's sake, he didn't even play in college. Like, he only played in that academy or whatever he played in. So he hasn't really had grown up competition like the Chet Holmgrens of the world, or even the Victor Wembanyama. How he didn't play in college, but he was also playing against grown ass men his whole life. So I think that makes a huge difference. And I think the Blazers are still garbage, but Scoot Henderson and his rec specs are going to hopefully be pretty decent down the stretch here. And with the addition of Anthony Simons back in the lineup, along with Shaedon Sharpe, I think that I don't want to say they're going to make some real damage out there, but they're not going to be a pushover like the Warriors are right now. So yeah.
Facts. Well, that pretty much wraps up the NBA. Unless you have anything else.
No, I don't. That's all I got for this edition of the Color Shot podcast. And be sure that you're downloading the podcast, checking us out on YouTube, and following us on the Instagram account. So do you have anything else other than just the usual?
Let's ride.
Nope. Thanks for listening, everybody. Alex Harris, Drew Moore, and we'll see y'all next week. Deuces.
Peace.
Delete that Bronco shit, bro.